Welcome to Sometime 1. Today we're working with page 46. And today's lesson is called What Time Is It? Now then, in today's lesson we're going to talk about 5 past. Let's look at the first clock. Look at the 2 hands. Both hands are pointing at number 1. So we know it has something to do with 1 o'clock. Now the big hand, when it points at number 3, we know that means a quarter past, don't we? Can you find a clock here that shows the big hand pointing at number 3? Yes, the third clock in the first row. That's a quarter past 3. But in the first clock, the big hand is not pointing at number 3, it's pointing at number 1. Now perhaps you don't know this, but when the big hand points at number 1, that's the same as 5 minutes. So we have 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. When the big hand points at number 1, that's the same as 5 minutes past the hour. 5 minutes past 1. Look at the next clock. Are the hands pointing at the same number, or are they pointing at different numbers? They're pointing at the same number. The small hand is pointing at number 2. So we know it has something to do with 2 o'clock. Now the big hand is also pointing at number 2. So how many minutes is that? Well, we know that when the big hand points at number 1, it's 5 minutes, but now it's pointing at number 2. So let's keep counting. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When the big hand is pointing at number 2, it means it's 10 minutes past. So when the big hand is pointing at number 2 and the small hand is pointing at number 2, it's the same as 10 minutes past 2. Let's look at the third clock. Now we know that when we see a big hand pointing at number 3, that's the same as a quarter past. You remember that, don't you? But you know, how many minutes is a quarter? Shall we count? If the big hand points at number 1, we know it's 5 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if the big hand points at number 2, we know it's 10 minutes. Let's count. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if the big hand points at number 3, how many minutes is that? Let's count. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 minutes past the hour is the same as a quarter past. So when the big hand points at number 3 and the small hand points just past 3, it's the same as a quarter past 3. Or you could say 15 minutes past 3. Whew, that's all for today. Bye.